Good morning. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning and to thank all of you for the support you've provided for maintaining the beaches and the beautiful beach we have here now. Both all of us individually as well as the staff that works so hard on this. And we could not do it without the plantation, its staff, and all of you. And so I know that everyone on the southern part of the island appreciates that. And as the name indicates, shore stabilization is really beach renourishment. And as you look at the pictures that you'll see here of our nice, beautiful, wide beach, and when you've seen the headlines in the areas from St. Augustine on south of the problems they're having with loss of buildings, the loss of the beach, the impact on tourism, of the ability to enjoy the beach, you can see the wisdom of the people that started this, as you'll see from the slide back in 1994, when our beach here was experiencing some of the same problems. Some of the condos here were actually almost dropping into the ocean. Where I live at Amelia Retreat, immediately to the south of here, same thing, it was right up to the buildings there. And so working together, they were able to do the first renourishment. And since then, we've had 3 additional refurbishments of it. And we completed the last one just in 2022, about this time last year. And it involved, as again, you can see there, about 1.8 million cubic yards. It was a fascinating thing to watch if y'all were able to get out on the beach and see them as they move forward. It's kind of a miracle. It's a very old technology, but it works well. And I would add another thing that we are very fortunate to have on the island, on the southern part of it, is we have a great source of sand. It's a general southern movement of the sand. It ends up in the sound, and we can get the same sand back, which has the same grains and the same kind of microscopic little critters in it that would have been here. And so it's a very safe thing to be able to do, to regularly do it. And so it proves that we have that. And I would add too, as we do that, and we have designed it this time so that the sand will go into the same place that we used to borrow the sand before, which really is a borrowing in this case. And that should fill up, and we'll use the same sand again in 10 years to bring it back and do it again. This roughly every 10 years. That also has some benefits to Nassau Sound because it opens it up to more flushing and exchange of waters between the Atlantic and the Sound, which is good for water quality in Nassau Sound. So it's a win-win all around. And we can go to the next slide if we could. And the construction cost was about just a little over $15 million, most of which was dredging. And the other just slightly complex point I wanted to make for you in terms of the small amount of taxes that we pay to support that each year. 2 years ago, the tax on it was larger than it was this year and will be hopefully for the next 8 years. And that is because the banks require that you be able to demonstrate you can pay back the full amount over the 10-year period. And we received, fortunately, a large number of grants from different agencies that offset much of the cost of this, but they didn't know for sure that we were going to get that because they pay you in increments as the project is ongoing. So the first year in a 10-year period always costs more, but then it comes down, and your tax bills this year reflected that, and it should stay in the same level or a little or very slightly less over the extent of this particular project. And we projected getting grants, and we were able to get every penny of the grants that we hope to get, both from DEP that give grants to local government, and the SAISSA is a governmental agency working under the auspices of the county, which also should give thanks to them of the assistance they give in the project, the collection of the monies that are needed for it, and handling a lot of those details. So anyway, we were able to get 57% of the project reimbursed. And go to the next slide. And in addition to us enjoying the beach and the vista of the beach and the storm protection we get, the other thing we're all concerned about is the environmental enhancements that also gives. And one of our I guess two favorite things in Florida, or three, maybe if you throw in the pants, are manatees and sea turtles. And we're lucky to have the sea turtles nesting on the beach. And one of the things that our maintenance of the beach, the way we do without letting it get too narrow and too hard, is that it allows for additional sea turtle nesting because there's more beaches for them to nest on. As you can see from this chart, as we started this in the early 90s and moved up to the completion, there's been a steady increase in the number of nests that are laid and also in hatchlings that are able to get out to the water. One other interesting thing is that a year and a half ago, as we were in the project or about to begin the project, is turtle conservation folks who works with SAISSA were able to transfer the nest as the eggs were laid. They would transfer them to further north on the island for that 1 year. And there was actually a slightly greater number of hatchlings per nest for the ones that were transferred up there than the natural ones there. And that evidently, maybe this is best guess of the turtle conservation folks, is that they were put further landward than the mama turtles laid their nest. And so there's less flooding from high tides or storms. So there's just a slight amount more. So this did not adversely impact the turtles even during the year that we're doing, and it certainly enhances it afterwards. And next slide. And so we had impacts from the storms last year, from two different storms that came by here that we've already talked about. And we had some beach loss, but I will add that when these are designed by the hydrographic engineers that figures out what we need to do on the beach, you put extra there for the storms, both in terms of width and in terms of height on the sand on the beach, allowing for the gradual deterioration over the 10 years without getting too critically close to the dunes. But we are looking at and have the hydrographic engineers are doing surveys out there to determine how much sand was lost. Some is likely out there in sandbanks off of the coast that will come back in maybe a little further to the south on the beach. But we may be able to get some additional assistance the next time we do the beach renourishment in terms of FEMA grants due to their declaring an emergency up and down the coast. And ours certainly wasn't the impact that you had further south, but we are working on that, and there'll be information available. And I should add, a lot of this you can see on the SAISSA website, that we post stuff as that comes up. And one more slide, I think. And so during the maintenance phase of the beach renourishment project, SAISSA gets a permit, and it's required to do a number of things. And so we're very careful to make sure we do all those. And most of those are protection for the environmental factors that we've already talked about. One of the things that we'll be doing next in February through April is looking at how much the beach has compacted in the last year. And we continue to have to do that and make sure it's soft enough for the turtles to be able to nest in it, that they'll be able to dig down. And if it's too compacted, we are required, and we'll do some tilling just to soften that up for the turtles so they successfully lay the eggs, and the little ones can dig their way out and run back to the ocean before something eats them on land. We also do physical monitoring of the Barra area, the sound, and seabird nesting, keep track of that with some of the conservation folks on the island and in the parks. And also sea turtle nest monitoring, again, with the turtle conservation folks on the island, who are very diligent in doing that. And I think it's a fun thing to do, other than getting up really early and maybe missing a cup of coffee. But anyway, all of this is ongoing, and will continue for the next few years to make sure that environmentally we're doing what we need to do, and that the resources are being protected. Next slide. And again, I wanted to leave you with the picture there of the beach, the way it looks, and for us to all appreciate how neat it is that we have that and we have the protection. Like today, it's pretty angry out there if you were able to take a look at the beach and the waves coming in, but this is designed to be able to do that, to absorb it and to protect all of our assets along there and to also protect the environment. So we appreciate your support and we couldn't do it without you. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them later on. Thank you.